Today is a special day for Poorvam and for this series as well. When we began Authors in Conversation back in February 2026, we had a simple but ambitious conviction that the ideas which matter most deserve unhurried conversation, not just publication. And 4 sessions later, here we are, and today it feels very different for me as well. So today we have with us someone who has not merely contributed to this journey from the outside, but who has shaped it from within, who has guided, mentored, and inspired this work from its earliest days. Arjun Bharadwaj sir is not just today's speaker, he is, in a very real sense, one of the reasons this platform exists at all. There is a dream that many of us carry, the dream of Bharat once again to becoming a civilizational light for the world. But dreams of that scale do not manifest through declarations alone. They require what we might call a post-colonial renaissance, a patient, rigorous, and deeply rooted reclamation of our intellectual and artistic inheritance. And in that renaissance, in the fields of literature, arts, and philosophy, Arjun Bharadwaj will be counted among its most enlightened voices. Our previous sessions have dwelt in the terrain of philosophy, its concepts, its arguments, its living questions. Today, we turn to classical literature, to Kalidasa, to the Kumārasambhavam, and to the extraordinary question that Arjun sir's new book raises, is what gives a kāvya its theatrical vitality? What makes a poem live and breathe like a drama before mind's eye? Before we begin, I must also say a word about the person without whom, quite simply, none of these events would be ever organized. Nilambar Chakrabarti has just returned from Denmark, a Sylff fellow, PhD research scholar at Jadavpur University, and a former research fellow at Smith College in South Asian Studies. He is our moderator today, and he is, in every sense, is the backbone of this series. Nilambar, it is wonderful to have you back. And with that, please let us begin. Nilambar, you are mute.
So you can hear me, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you, Amritaнаথ, for your lovely introduction. And we are very grateful and delighted to have Arjun Bharadwaj with us. So I'll just give a formal introduction, although Bharadwaj doesn't need an introduction, but I need to officially introduce him. Arjun Bharadwaj is a scholar of Sanskrit literature, comparative aesthetics, and classical Indian and Greek traditions. Trained originally as an engineer at NITK Surathkal and ETH Zurich, he has authored numerous research articles, translated major literary works, and taught subjects like Nāṭyaśāstra, Arthashastra, to temple art and iconography. His work uniquely combines scholarship of translation, music, and performing arts, making him a distinguished interpreter of classical traditions for contemporary audiences. He is also the co-founder of Praharsha Publications, right?
Yeah, Praharsha.
Praharsha Publications. And now I request Bharadwaj to start his presentation. Over to you, Bharadwaj.
वागर्थाविव सम्पृक्तौ वागर्थप्रतिपत्तये जगतस्ततरौ वन्दे पार्वती परमेश्वरौ. Namaste. Very good evening, everyone. Good morning or good afternoon if you are in different time zones. Thanks a lot, Amritaнаথ ji and the entire Poorvam team for hosting this book reading session or a book introduction session. And thanks to Nilambar ji for also being the moderator here. It's a great pleasure to share some of my thoughts and some of my learning with all of you who have joined amidst various different weather conditions and various different time zones. And Amritaнаথ ji has been very kind to me in his introduction I don't know in what way you have contributed towards the Poorvam establishment of the institute, but he has been very generous in his appreciation. Yeah, and he has also written
If
very kind reviews of yes.
if I may add, because sir, you always have inspired us when I was in a big distress, when I was in a doubt whether we start Purvam or not, back a year.
Yeah.
You always have inspired and mentored me.
Oh my God. Okay, thank you. Yeah, my best wishes to Poorvam, and I hope it gains larger and larger visibility and achieves the objective that it has been started with. And like the name itself indicates, it's for the study of the Orient, of the East, and also whatever is apurva, whatever is not seen before. So all those meanings kind of resonate with the name. Okay. So without much ado, let me come to the topic. Uh, I guess most of you have joined here because most of you have at least heard of Kalidasa. Kalidasa is, in the true spirit, in the true sense, the national poet of India. For anybody who wants to understand any aspect of Indian culture, going through the seven major works of Kalidasa, the seven works of Kalidasa would be sufficient. It's a self-sufficient samskara which the going through of Kalidasa's works can provide. Be it the Kanda Kavyas, the small Kavyas, Laghu Kavyas that he has written, the Meghaduta and the Ritusamhara, or the three extraordinary plays, the Abhinaya Shakuntalam, the Malavika the Vikramorvachiyam, the three plays, or the two Mahakavyas that he has written, one, the Raghuvamsha, the other, the Kumarasambhavam. Reading any of these or all of these can have a transformative effect. It can kindle very positive values in you. It can help you overcome any kind of difficulties in life which you may face or which you may perceive as being difficult. So it is Jivana Samskara Karaka, any kind of Kavya Adhyayana, any kind of Sahitya Adhyayana, study of Sahitya, can have that effect. Kalidasa lived in the golden age of the Gupta period in about the third or the fourth century of the Common Era. That's about 1,700 years ago. So that was the time when Bharata, India was at its cultural peak and its economic peak. So the best aspects, in fact, most of the best scholars came from that time, be it in the Ayurveda domain, Charaka, Vagbhata, Sushruta, they were from that period. Varahamihira, a very great astronomer and a very great person who wrote encyclopedia, the Brihat Samhita was from that period. See, this is another interesting thing. Writing of encyclopedia is native to India. No other country has ever come up with that kind of encyclopedia works. So the Puranas can be said to be common man's encyclopedia. Many of the Puranas took their shape during the Gupta period. And treatises on temple art and architecture, like Mayamata, originated from that period. So many of these treatises belong to the Gupta period, and Kalidasa represents the best aspect of Indian culture, the best contribution of Bharata to the world. So the topic today is Kumarasambhavam. The name itself indicates the birth of a son. Kumara means a son, and Sambhava means the birth. And who is this Kumara being born to? The son, Jagatav Pitarau, parents of the world, Parvati and Parameshwara. Shiva and Parvati, for whatever reason, they are living separately after the Daksha Yajna. And because the parents are living separately, their house, which is the entire loka, the entire world, is under agony. So just imagine if the parents are living separately, their household will be attacked by all kinds of invaders and intruders. That is what has happened to the Svargaloka. Tarakasura, a Rakshasa, a rowdy, a Gunda, has occupied the Svargaloka. And Parvati, that is Dakshayani, in her previous Janma, Dakshayani, is reborn as Parvata Rajakanya, the daughter of Parvata Raja. And Bhagavan Shiva is in deep meditation to realize himself and perhaps to realize Parvati within himself. So the two are separated, and the world is in agony because it is being trampled down, it is being attacked, it is being dominated, it is being oppressed by the Rakshasa Tarakasura. The very word Taraka means shades of something. Tarakaswara, Tarasthai, we say, heights of torture, heights of terrorism. That is what is happening. So now the story is about the Devas requesting Chaturmukha Brahma for a solution to this problem. Brahma is the one who has created the worlds. When the world is in trouble, let us try to go to him for a solution. Then that is when Brahma says that if Shiva and Parvati come together, the son who is born to them, he, that is Subramanya or Kumaraswamy or Skanda, he can guide you all. See, Brahma is very clear in his instruction. I won't give you a solution for every problem that you come with. You work towards solving it. If you need guidance, then Shiva and Parvati will have to come together, and the child born to them, that is Kumaraswamy, Subramanya, he will give you guidance. He will be the leader of your forces. He'll be the Deva Senapati. He'll be the leader of your forces. So ensure that Shiva and Parvati come together. Now, Indra, upon hearing this, he can't think beyond the obvious. He thinks that to bring together Shiva and Parvati, he can use Manmata as an instrument. Okay, Kama. So the word Kama comes from Kama Kanto, something which adds brilliance or Kanti or radiance to our lives. But Kama should be timely. It should not be unwarranted. It should be as per the tenets of Dharma. Sri Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Dharma viruddho bhuteshu kamosmi bharatarshava. Enjoyment of desires should not be against the Dharma of the world, the Dharma of the body, the Dharma of the mind, the Dharma of the world. It should not be against that. But here, Kama forces himself upon Shiva, as in he comes to disturb Shiva's penance. Even when he's not welcome, he comes with Vasanta, an embodiment of the spring season, and he tries to disrupt Shiva's penance, Shiva's tapas, and Shiva, who is agonized, who is angry with Manmata's this mischief, reduces him to ashes. I'll talk about the symbology of all of these soon. Thereafter, Manmata gets to be called Ananga, somebody who does not have a body at all. And Parvati also, who was serving Shiva while he was performing tapas, she's also aghast. She thought she could win over Shiva through her external beauty by decking herself really well. Now, looking at Manmata getting reduced to ashes and Shiva vanishing from that spot, Parvati is heartbroken. She rushes back to her father's place and decides that it is not through external beauty that I can win over Shiva, but I must have the Shiva Sakshatkara within myself. So she undergoes what is called the Panchagni Tapas, the tapas amidst 5 fires, 4 fires in 4 directions, and the 5th fire, which is the blazing rays of the sun. So she undergoes that tapas, and now Shiva comes in the disguise of a brahmachari and tries to ask her about the value of Shiva himself. He starts asking her, who are you? What are you praying for? What are you performing tapas for? So Parvati says, I am performing tapas to gain Shiva, to realize Shiva, to have the Shiva Sakshatkara within myself. So this Vatuveshadari, he starts ridiculing her. What kind of a person you want to marry? You are the daughter of Parvataraja. You're a princess. And you want to marry a beggar who does not even have a place to stay, a beggar who stays in the crematorium. And what does he wear? He wears thick elephant skin. And you are wearing such delicate sari. And how can you both come together in a wedding? Can you tie an elephant skin to Lahamsa Chitritam sari? Can you tie them together? It's not possible, etc. So, in the Vatuveshadari, Shiva in disguise kind of ridicules Parvati's attempt to win over Shiva. Then Parvati, by this time, she has realized that all external attributes should be looked beyond. One should transcend the external attributes and understand the internal spirit. So she gives very positive answers. She explains the symbology of Shiva to Shiva himself, who is in Vatuveshadara. And then Shiva is also impressed by her understanding of the Shiva Tattva. And he says, Adya Pravrityavanathangi Tavasmi Dasaha Pritis Tapobihi. So he says, hereafter, I'm going to be your dasa. I'm going to be a devotee to you. I'm going to be your servant, and so on. So Shiva accepts her tapas, and he says that I'll be your dasa hereafter. But then Parvati does not want this to be a love marriage. She wants it to be a Brahma Vivaha. So she tells Shiva, okay, Dhata me bhubrutam nata. It is my father who will have to approve this marriage. So send a proposal to my father. So now Shiva has no father, mother, etc. He is Anadi Ananta. So he asks the Saptarishis to take the proposal to Parvataraja. So the Saptarishis come and some very interesting incidents happen. And then eventually the wedding of Shiva and Parvati is decided and they both get married and they go on a honeymoon. So that is what the Kumarasambhavam talks about. There are 8 sargas or 8 chapters or cantos in the epic Kumarasambhavam. And in these, this is the part of the story which is told. See, look at the name. It says Kumarasambhavam. But the Kavya ends with the wedding of Shiva and Parvati and their honeymoon trip. So it is indicated or suggested that if Shiva and Parvati come together, naturally a child will be born and all the problems of the world will be solved. Bringing them together was the most important thing that had to happen. Okay, so now this is the Kavya, which I very briefly told you outlines of the story of the Kavya. Now see, for any literary work to be appealing, see, many of you might have read many kinds of novels. If there are people from Bengal, you might have read the novels of Bankim Chandra, Sharat Chandra, etc. I have enjoyed them. I have read them in translation, not in the original Bengali, however. People from Karnataka, you might have read the novels of S.L. Bhairappa, of Shivaram Karant, of Masti Venkatesh Iyengar, etc. Many of these have been translated to Bengali as well. Okay. See, when we read any of these literary works, or even if you have read the Ramayana, the Mahabharata, or even the Kumarasambhavam, it will be enjoyable if you're able to imagine the characters in flesh and blood and the poem or the literary work runs like a play in your manoranga. So there must be a dramatic element. Several times we read some novels written by some beginners or amateurs, and we may say that I did not understand what he's trying to say. I was not able to imagine at all. What was the height of this particular character? Was he hefty or was he thin? What was the kind of costume he was wearing? What was the facial expression? And what was the tonality of the voice when he or she was speaking? All of these need to be understood. By the way, if there are any Harry Potter fans here, I'm also a very big fan of J.K. Rowling's writings, also of Sherlock Holmes, also of Shakespeare, etc. In all of their works, although it is in the literary medium, it's got so much action, so much of dramatic element. You can imagine the facial expression of the character. You can imagine if the character is blushing, or if the character has got romancha, has got goosebumps, or if the character, when he or she is speaking, the texture, the tenor, the volume of the character's voice, all of this you can imagine just through the literary medium. Just by going through the text, you will be able to enjoy it. So what I'm trying to show here in the book, the dramatic element in Kumarasambhavam, is that Kalidasa intuitively and naturally follows the principles of Nāṭyaśāstra. Nāṭyaśāstra is a treatise on dramaturgy. Natya means drama. Shastra is a technical treatise. So a treatise on dramaturgy which speaks about Chaturvidha Abhinaya, 4 modes of communication. The first one is Aharya Abhinaya. Just imagine a drama. Aharya refers to communication through costumes and stage properties. Just imagine in a drama, if somebody comes on the stage wearing white cloak and a stethoscope, looking at the Aharya, that's a communication that he or she is a doctor. If somebody comes on the stage wearing a crown, having a bow and an arrow, etc., you immediately understand that he or she is a king. Right? So based on the costume, there is a communication. So that is Aharya. Angika is the communication through body language. Our entire body speaks in our day-to-day lives also, not just the face. The manner in which we walk also has communication. If I'm angry, I walk around very quickly, run away from there. If I'm sad, my gait will be very slow. If I'm very joyful, if I'm very happy, I'll be jumping around with joy. Literally, my legs, my feet communicate my emotion. Of course, my face also naturally communicates, my hands naturally communicate, etc. Communication through the body is Angika Abhinaya. Abhinaya is the art of communication. Aharya Abhinaya is the communication through external aspects, through costumes, etc. Angika Abhinaya through the body. Vachika Abhinaya through sounds. It can be through speech, spoken word. It can be through any kind of, you might do a or some kind of grunt, or you might clear your throat. All those kinds of sounds also communicate ideas to people. So Vachika Abhinaya, communication through speech, through music, and through different kinds of sounds. And Satvika Abhinaya. Satvika Abhinaya constitutes the involuntary reactions of a person to a situation. If you're sad, tears may naturally come from your eyes. It's not a voluntary reaction. It's an involuntary reaction. If I ask Amritanath now, bring 3 tears from your left eye, will you be able to? You won't be. But when you're sad or when you're happy, it will naturally come. Right. Similarly, having the horripilation. If I ask somebody here in the audience, Sumitra, have horripilations now, have goosebumps now, it's not possible. But when there is some kind of adbhuta feeling, when there is vismaya, when there is surprise or amazement, then horripilation will naturally happen. Or when you are feeling some kind of horror or goosebumps. So all of these are called aspects of sattvika abhinaya. It is something which is connected with sattva, your true self, the true emotion that you're feeling. So that is sattvika abhinaya, the involuntary reaction of the body. When we are scared, we might turn pale. When we are in love and when we are feeling shy, we might start blushing. When we are sad, our face may look very dull and blue, etc. So all of these are Satvika Abhinaya elements. See, for that matter, I'm so amazed by the emoticon designs on the smartphone. Even in WhatsApp, the emoticon for angry is red. So red is a Satvika Abhinaya. Your face turning red. Sadness is again associated with blue. Look at the crying emojis and the sad emojis. All of them are in blue color. See how even while designing an emoticon for communication, see that is also being used for communication. Satvika Abhinaya elements are used. See, if modern day technology is using Satvika Abhinaya so much, then of course an extraordinary poet like Kalidasa, who is also a playwright, who is also a Natakakara, who has written 3 plays and who is very thorough with the Nāṭyaśāstra, he would have inbuilt dramatic elements in his Gadya Kāvya as well. Gadya Kāvya, which is a prose or a Padya Kāvya, something which is in the form of verses. Even in the Shravya Kāvya, what is to be heard, there is Prekshaa element. Even whatever is appealing to the ear, there is something which is appealing to the eye as well. You can actually imagine the characters in blood, flesh and blood, their poses, their postures, the manner in which they are speaking, what they are wearing, etc. Now, very quickly, let me speak about certain technical elements here. There was this extraordinary aesthetician, as in a person who is well versed in Saundarya-shastra. See, this is again something very interesting in India. Every domain of knowledge, every domain of human activity has been formalized in form of shastras for easy propagation and for easy understanding. Saundarya Shastra is what deals with creation of beauty and appreciation of beauty. How to make a beautiful sculpture, how to write a beautiful poem, how to be a beautiful dancer, how to be an extraordinary actor. So how to create beauty, and once beauty is created, how to appreciate beauty. So that is what Saundarya Shastra does. See, we have so many shastras related to health, Ayurveda, shastras related to theater, the Nāṭyaśāstra, shastras related to games, Krida Shastra, shastra related to Vastu, architecture, shastras related to Shilpa. Like this, every aspect, agriculture, animal husbandry, and observing of skies, the astronomy, all of them, there are so many different kinds of shastras that we have got. So in one of the Saundarya Shastrakaras, as in one of the aestheticians called Bhattatauta. He was the teacher of an extraordinary scholar called Abhinava Gupta, who lived about 1,000 years back in Kashmir area. So he says the following. Prayogatva manapanne kavye nasvada sambhavaha. So I have mentioned that in the introduction to the work. Prayogatva manapanne. If the natyayamanata, if a dramatic element is absent, then a novel or a literary work cannot be enjoyable. For a literary work to be enjoyable, it must run like a drama in your mental space, in your manoranga. If not in the actual ranga, in the ranga bhumi, it should work in your manoranga, in your mental arena, in your mental space. He also says, this is again a technical one, Anubhava vibhavanam varnana kavya muchyate, tesham eva prayogastu natyam gitadi ranjitam. Anubhava vibhavanam, what triggers an emotion and what is the reaction to an emotion, that should be the crux of description of a poet in any kind of kavya, description through the verbal medium. The same thing when enacted on stage, that becomes a drama. Anubhava and vibhava. So there's an elephant, which is a vibhava, a trigger for an emotion. And because the elephant is attacking a lady in a drama, she is feeling fear. So she's running away from there. So the trigger of an emotion, the reaction to an emotion, action and reaction. So this is what will make it dramatic. So that should be there in any kind of kavya as well, any kind of literary work as well, is what Bhattitauta is trying to say. Similarly, see, Anubhava and Vibhava are there in any kind of work. For example, if you're watching a drama based on the Ramayana, Rama falls in love with Sita, Sita falls in love with Rama. For Rama, Sita is the trigger for love. He's not falling in love in vacuum. Okay, there's a trigger. That is the Vibhava. Rama falling in love with Sita, Sita is the Vibhava. And Anubhava that Rama has, that is the reaction to the emotion, is he may express something, he might garland her, etc. Similarly, for Sita, Rama is the Vibhava, and she has certain kinds of expressions, which is Anubhava. Similarly, when Ravana is kidnapping Sita, Ravana is the Vibhava for anger of Sita, for the distress of Sita. And Sita expresses anger or distress by calling out for help, etc. So Vibhava and Anubhavas should be logically captured in a kavya, in the literary medium, for it to be relishable by the audience. And it must have the dramatic element. Okay. Now, let me take a few examples. It's full of drama, full of very insightful details, Kalidasa's Kumarasambhavam. I'll go to the second sarga, which is called Brahma Sakshatkara. All the devas, like I had mentioned, they go to Chaturmukha Brahma, four-faced Brahma, asking him for help. So all of them were looking really dull when they had gone there. And now Kalidasa needs to capture the effect that Brahma's appearance had. See, they were all in Brahmaloka, waiting to get an audience with Brahma. Then as soon as Brahma came, what was the effect on their faces? How did their facial expression change? So that is what he is trying to capture. See, this is the verse number 2. Verse number 2 of the sarga number 2, the second sarga. Kalidasa says, Tesham avirabhut Brahma parimlana mukashriyam sarasam suprapadmanam pratar diditi maniva. So however the devas looking, they were all looking dull like lotuses which have covered their faces at night. Lotuses, all of them close their petals. And when the petals are closed, there are dewdrops on the lotus petals as well, right? So they're looking dull, and even in Kannada, we have this kind of saying, Yake murdo, you are kind of looking really dull, and it's like a closed petal. So when you brighten, it's like a open flower. Here, it's like a closed flower. So all of them were like a closed flower with dewdrops upon them, which is indicative of tears, and they were looking dull. Because in darkness, there is no sunlight. So it was darkness which was enveloping the universe, darkness in the form of Tarakasura, the Rakshasa Taraka, the Tamasa, which is kind of enveloping the world. So they were so dull. And when, as soon as Brahma appeared there, all of them brightened up. Pratar Diditi Maniva. As soon as sun rises in the morning, all the lotuses brighten up. It is also said in the Kavyas that the sun extends his hands, which are the rays, and he goes and wipes the tears from the faces of all these lotuses. So the dewdrops melt away, they dry up, and the lotuses blossom. So all of them together who were looking dull, all of them now brighten up because there is this ray of hope which has come to them in the form of Chaturmukha Brahma. The four-faced Brahma himself came like a ray of hope, millions of rays of hope to to all the devatas. Now see, Brahma observes everybody's reaction, everybody's state of mind. The state of mind is reflected through the body. See here, if you look at the previous shloka, the Satvika Abhinaya has been indicated. So they were all in tears. Their faces were like closed lotuses. So they were looking dull. Satvika Abhinaya is indicated. And the change of emotion, the change of facial reaction has also been indicated just using 22 letters. 22 letters, that is two padas of a shloka. So powerful is Kalidasa's expression, and so dramatic is the kind of imagination that he gives us. Brahma looks at Yama. All the Ashtadikpalakas have come. Indra, Yama, Varuna, all of them have come. And many other devatas have also come. So he looks at Yama and says, Yamopi vilikan bhumim dande nasta mitashtvisha kurutesmin amokhepi nirvana lata ladhavam. So how is Yama looking? Yama holds Dharmadanda. Dharmadanda, the scepter of Dharma. And what is he doing with that? The Dharmadanda has become like a charcoal piece with which he's scratching the ground, scratching the floor. He's not even able to lift up his face and look at Brahma. He's feeling very ashamed of himself. See, let me read out the translation and the interpretation given here. The wielder of the scepter of discipline, the Dharmadanda that Yama carries, that is something which disciplines the world. Yama itself means control. He is the one who will control the activities of people of the world. Up, wielder of the scepters of the discipline appears to have hung his head low in shame and agony. So when will you put your head low? Yamopi vilikan bhumim dandena dandena astamita tvisha. So he has put his head down, okay, with shame and agony. He scratches the ground with a scepter, that is the danda, which is reduced in its form to a burnt piece of charcoal, which is used for writing. Whatever was to be bright and brilliant has lost its luster. It's not just the devatas, but their ayudas also have become useless when there is asuri pravritti, when there is this conquering force, when there is negativity around. The poet brings in dynamism here. Looking down in shyness and scratching the ground with their toes is something that is natural for women and suggests their bashfulness. So they are embarrassed. That is what women do in the classical poetry when they are ashamed. Here, Yama is doing that. Here, Yama, the embodiment of self-regulation and depth, has been reduced to the state of a meek person, and his object of brilliant power is diminished in luster to a grey charcoal. So how the diminishing of luster of even the Ayuda is happening, and what is the physical mannerism of Yama, and what is he doing? See, this is what happens when you're tensed. You would be kind of rubbing your hands with respect to each other, or if you have a kerchief, you might be kind of playing with it. That also indicates stress, the stressful state that the devatas were in. So that is being very beautifully indicated by Kalidasa through their body language. And all of this is being observed by Brahma. Now Brahma asks Indra, you are the leader of the gods, right? So please tell us, why have you come here? What is your problem? What problem are you facing? So then look at this. Indra is thousand-eyed. He has got 1,000 eyes on his body. And he thinks that he cannot speak. And Bruhaspati, who is his teacher, the Acharya of the Devatas, Guru of the Devatas, he would be the right person to speak. So all the 100 eyes, he slowly moved towards Bruhaspati. He just looks at his Guru Bruhaspati, and just by that look, he's communicating a request. See, eyes can communicate so much. You might look at a student or a servant, Just a look may communicate anger. Just a look may communicate a request. A look may communicate love. And here it is thousand eyes which are looking at the same time at the Guru. And now what Kalidasa says is, Tato Mandanilodhuta Kamalakara Shobhina Guru Netra Sahasrena Nodaya Masa Vasavaha. Vasavaha, that is Indra, all the thousand eyes turn slowly towards Brahaspati. It's not a quick reaction. It's a request that he's doing. A request should not be done in a very aggressive or a jerky manner. So slowly it turned towards that. How was it looking? Like a mandanila, as a smooth, soft breeze blowing over a lake with thousands of lotuses. Imagine a lake full of lotuses. I have enjoyed such sights in Kolkata. And near Bangalore also there are some such lotus-filled lakes. And imagine wind blowing through all of them and all the thousand lotuses turned in the same direction. Similar was all the thousand eyes of Indra turning towards Brahma. He requested Brahma, turning towards Brihaspati, requesting him to kind of address the problem, to voice out their problem. Now see, the atrocities of Tarakasura has been described very well. The sadistic pleasure that he's deriving. What was Tarakasura doing? He had captured all the Apsaras and he wanted AC effect while he was in the Svargaloka. So he had asked all the Apsaras to fan him. And as they are fanning, because they were in pain, they were constantly crying. Tears is flowing down through their eyes. And when they are fanning him, it has got AC effect. Wind which goes through water, that is the AC principle, right? Air conditioning. Exactly the same thing. In the second Sarga, 42nd shloka, just read it. Vijyante sahi samsuptaha. Shwasa sadharana nilayihi. Chamarai surabandinam. Bashpa shrikara varshibihi. Raining down bashpa. That is tears from their eyes. To cool him down, they are fanning him. Such a deep message of sadistic pleasure that a Rakshasa takes at the cost of other people's pain. That is what Kalidasa is indicating here. Very, very interesting and very deep messages are kind of indicated here. Now see, Shiva is performing tapas and Manmata comes to that place. Because Indra thinks that only Manmata can integrate, bring together Shiva and Parvati. I'm just going forward in the story, going forward to the third Sarga. So Manmata comes, along with Manmata, Vasanta Rutu also comes. It is Akala Vasanta. You cannot force seasons on nature. Nature will decide when different seasons should come. We human beings cannot artificially create clouds and make rains come down. We can't force flowers to blossom, etc. If you go against nature, nature will have its negative effects upon you. That is another very deep symbology here. So Akala Vasanta. Vasanta has also come and he has blossomed all the flowers, etc. It is still the Shishira Rutu, but forcefully Vasanta has come in the winter season itself. So all the trees have blossomed and the entire nature has just started copulating. So Kalidasa gives a very interesting picture. A male elephant takes water through its trunk and pours it into the mouth of the female elephant. So the male is feeding the female. And also two bees, the male and female of a bee, Madhudvirepam Kusumaika Patre. Both of them are drinking the juice from the same flower. See, today, modern day movies, they have got the hero and the heroine drinking from the same thumbs up or same Mirinda or something, drinking from the same bottle. This idea is 1700 years old. Not human beings, but a male bee and a female bee. Both of them so much in love that they are drinking juice from the same flower. Okay. Similarly, a male deer is sleeping with its tusks, with its horns, which are above its head. And the female comes and scratches its eye using the horns of the male deer. All of these kinds of very beautiful descriptions are given. All this nuisance is happening around in the world, but Shiva is in deep meditation. Nandikeshwara who was guarding the Tapovana, the place, the penance ground of Shiva, the Tapobhumi of Shiva. He wants to silence the nature. Now look at what he says, what Kalidasa says. Third Sarga, 41st Shloka. Lata Gruhadvara Gatotanandi, Vama Prakoshtarpita Hema Vetraha, Mutarpitaikanguli Sanyeva, Machapalayeti Ganan Yanaishir. Nishkampa Vruksham, Nibriti Dvirepam, Mukandajam, Shanta Mruga Pracharam, Chasanat Kananameva Sarvam, Chitrarpitaram Bhamivavataste. So the entire nature which was animated because of the spring season coming in, all of them were copulating, all of them were joyful, etc. Now Nandikeshwara wants to silence them. He wants them to be silent. So what does he do? He has got Hema Vetraha. He has got a golden staff, the staff of Adhikara. He is the Ganadhyaksha, the leader of Shivaganas. He places his left hand on top of that golden stick that he's having. Look at this, the dramatic element through the verbal medium. He places his left hand there and Mukarpi Taikanguli Sanyeva. Using his right hand, he just puts his finger on his lips. 1700 years ago, Kalidasa has written this. This is what school teachers do. Putting their finger on the lips, asking everybody to be silent. It's a 1700-year-old gesture. This is called the Suchi Hasta, Abhinaya of Nandikeshwara. Mukarpi Teikanguli Sanya Eva. Just with this just one gesture, Ma Chapalayeti. Don't misbehave. Stop this idiotic behavior. He instructed the entire world, entire nature. Then what happened? The entire nature froze in a moment's time. Nishkampa Vruksham. The latas, the creepers, which are feminine, they were hugging the trees, which is masculine. So they were also kind of copulating. Stopped all their tremors, all their movements. Nishkampa Vruksham. Nibruta Dvirepam. All the brahmaras, all the bees which were flying around, they paused. They got arrested. Mukandajam. All the birds which were chirping around. Look at this. Kalidasa gives Panchendriya Anubhava. It just does not tell us how it looked, how it sounded, how it smelled, what was the texture of Indra's hand, what was the temperature in the place. All of these five-dimensional experience. It is a 5D movie that you watch by going through Kalidasa's works. 4D movies, four-dimensional movies, 3D movie, etc. may be a modern phenomenon. Back then in our literature, we had 5D experiences. So Mukandajam, all the birds which were chirping, they have become silent. Shantamruga Pracharam, all the animals which were moving helter-skelter, looking for their husbands or looking for their mates or their wives, their female counterparts. That's Chasanas, because of this one gesture made by Nandikeshwara. Chitrarpitarambham ivavataste. The entire nature became like a painting. See, in a painting, nothing moves. Everything looks arrested. So the entire nature became like a painting. So from movement to non-movement. Very beautifully, Kalidasa shows this. Okay, anyway, eventually Manmata gets reduced to ashes. All of these happens. And so Parvati is very sad. She goes back to her father's house and then she decides to perform tapas. And now she performs this Panchagni tapas. I'm just taking a few examples. In about 10 minutes, I'll conclude. The entire book is there. So as you go through the book, you will understand the story. You'll understand the philosophy of the characters. You will understand Tattva, and you will also understand the figures of speech and the dramatic element, the Nāṭyaśāstric elements which are present in the Kavya. So Kalidasa describes the posture in which Parvati was standing, not directly but indirectly, in the Sarga number 5, Shloka number 24. In the 5th Sarga, 24th Shloka, Parvati is performing tapas throughout the summer season. Her body is heated up because of the 4 fires in the 4 directions and the Panchamagni, the 5th fire in the form of the blazing sun. Then the first drops of rain fall from the sky and they fall on her body. How did the first drop of rain fall on her body? Through the raindrop. Kalidasa indicates the posture in which Parvati was standing. See, he says, Stitakshanam pakshmasu taditadharaha vayodharotseda nipata churnitaha valishu tasyaha skalitav prapedire chirena nabhim prathamoda bimbavaha. Prathamoda bimbavaha, the first drops of rain. How did they go through her body? The drops of the first water showers rested for a moment on her eyelashes, striking upon her lower lip. From the eyelashes, they came to the lower lip. They broke as they fell upon her elevated chest. From there, they went through the Trivali. Trivali is the three lines which are present on the abdomen or below the chest. So the Trivali Lavali Valli Bhiriva, Shankara Bhagavatpada also says in the Saundarya Lahari. So it is Mahapurusha Lakshana or Mahastri Lakshana, having Trivali here in the neck and also below the chest. So that is the Mahapurusha and a Mahastri Lakshana. So the first drops of water fell on her eyelashes, then onto her lips, then onto her chest, and it passed through the Trivali and went into her navel, into her Nabisthala. So this was the movement of one drop of water. So looking at this, Mallinatha describes, and also another great scholar called Appaya Dikshita, who lived about 350 years back in Tamil Nadu, he describes that this is an indication of the Samadhi state of Parvati. Says, Appaya Dikshita, commenting on this verse in his Chitra Mimamsa, makes the following nuanced observations. He says the verse suggests the Samadhi posture, standing in a Samadhi. The first drops of rain would naturally help cool the body that has been subjected to many days of scorching sun heat, and this would comfort the person. Appaya Dikshita notes that Parvati does not get perturbed even under such circumstances and maintains her posture. First, very important thing. Samadhi state, she is not getting disturbed even when there is cooling down externally. She is not enjoying the pleasures there. She is one-minded into the Shiva Tattva Dhyana. Maintains her posture. The poet has thus succinctly suggested the unperturbed nature of Parvati Samadhi and her transcendence of the body. She is not connected to her body anymore. She has transcended that. She is in that Brahmaikya, that Brahma Samadhi. Appaya Dikshita further observes that the droplets staying for a moment on eyelashes indicate the configuration of the eyes of a person in Samadhi. They are to be directed towards the tip of the nose and the eyelids are half closed. See, imagine if they're completely closed, they slip down. If completely open, they won't even touch the eyelashes. If the eyelids were completely open, eyelashes would be pointing upwards. And if the eyelids were completely closed, they would be pointing downwards. In both the cases, the water droplets could not have momentarily stayed there. The fact that water droplet was staying for a moment on Parvati's eyes indicates Ardha Nimilita Netra. If anybody wants to do a sculpture of Parvati meditating or a painting of Parvati meditating, today morning also I was indicating to Amrutnath ji, behind him is a beautiful painting of Nandalal Bose. Like any great artist wants to do a painting, then you can look at this, how it has been described by the rainwater. So, Ardha Nimilita Netra and her drishti towards her nose. The droplets did not enter her mouth, suggests that her lips were closed tightly. Or else droplets would have entered, but they hit the lower lip. Her chest was upright and firm and thus acted as momentary obstacle for the flow of the water droplets. Her navel was neither restrained nor compressed, and thus the drops of water entered it. The drops could have fallen upon her lashes, lips, breasts, and entered her navel only because she was motionless. She was still. That is why it could take this path. If she was moving, if she was bending, then water droplet also could have gotten disturbed. So Appaya Dikshita is indicating that in this one verse, the motionlessness of the body and of the mind, the stability, the pragnatva of Parvati at the physical level and at the mental level, both have been indicated through this one posture which has been suggested through a dhvani. Chaturvidhabhinaya Dhvani, the Angika Dhvani, the posture has been suggested through water droplet. So, such very, very interesting things Kalidasa brings to our notice. He kind of has embedded it with many metaphors. Then Shiva comes in that disguise as a Vatuveshadhari, and he says that he tests Parvati, etc. Then after that, he sends the Saptarishis to take forward the proposal to Parvati's house. So when the Saptarishis come to Himalaya Parvata, to Parvataraja's house, they see a couple of verses and then I'll conclude. Parvataraja welcomes the Saptarishis. Shiva would have told Devi Arundhati also to go. In all this matchmaking, match-breaking processes, women will play a very important role. Purandrina Pragalbhata. Just imagine even today in society, especially in Indian society, all these women are curious. Oh, this boy is not married. That girl is also not married. Can we bring them together? Men do not do that much. Just confess it in your own place, whichever part of the country you are from. Women have more greater role to play in those kinds of matchmaking, and sometimes match breaking also women do. Men do that lesser. 70% women, 30% women, we would say. Shiva had also observed that. Purandrinam Pragalpata, he says, women are good at that, so take Devi Arundhati also with you for this proposal, my proposal to Parvati. So Saptarishis with Arundhati, who is the wife of Vasishtha, all of them have come. Arundhati and Vasishtha represent the best couplehood. That is why even today in the Vivaha ceremony, looking at that Arundhati and Vasishtha, that's a very important part. Right? So when they come to Parvataraja's house, look at the way Parvataraja introduces himself. Look at the words he says, Ete vayam amidaraha kanyayam kulajivitam. If I just read it out, it means this is us. Ete vayam. It's the royal we. The kings use the royal bahuvachana. Ete vayam amidaraha. This is my wife. Kanyayam kulajivitam. This is my daughter. Now see, when a poet says this, we automatically imagine body language. Ete vayam, you would imagine that he's pointing to himself. Ete vayam, this is me. Ami daraha, this is my wife. Kanyayam, this lady here is my kanya. This is my daughter. So the body language is not explicitly told, but it is implicitly suggested. When a person is speaking this is me, this is my wife, this is my daughter. He won't say with hands tied, with a poker face. There would be a facial expression. There would be a body language. So that has been suggestively brought in. Ete vayam ami dharaha kanyayam kulajivitam. So that kind of facial expression and bodily expression should be there. So a dramatic angika element has been brought in here. And see, what happens is when her father and mother are speaking to the Saptarishis, Parvati is curious, why Saptarishis suddenly have come to my house? Maybe Shiva has sent the proposal. I want to hear what they are trying to say, but I don't want to barge into their conversation. I'm a young girl after all. So she stands nearby and she appears to be counting, having a lotus in her hand and counting the number of petals, but she is actually completely hearing what is the conversation. She's curious. What are the Saptarishis saying? Have they brought Shiva's proposal? What are my parents saying? Are they agreeing that they can give me in marriage to Shiva, etc.? So, last shloka for today's discussion, the 6th sarga, 84th one. Evam vadini devarshav, parshve pituradhomukhi, Leela Kamala Patrani Ganaya Masa Parvati. So Kalidasa described what is the body language and expression of Parvati when her parents are conversing with the Saptarishis who have brought the proposal. Evam Vadini Devarsho, when the Devarshi was speaking this, Parshve Pitur Adhomukhi. Parvati is standing little behind her father with head bent down. She, out of dignity, she does not want to stare at the faces of the rishis and curiously hear. She is appearing distracted. Parshve Pitur Adhomukhi, with her face bent down. Leela Kamala Patrani. She had a joyful or a playful, a toy kind of lotus in her hand. Leela Kamala Patrani. She is counting like Ganaya Masa Parvati. She is counting the petals. as though she has to give some statistical data or some census data. Oh, this lotus has got this many petals. That lotus has got that many petals. That's not the idea. She is appearing distracted while her ears are completely on the conversation. This is what even today some children do, or some grown-up teenagers. Some older people are talking, they'll be appearing distracted in their mobile as though looking something there, but actually they want to overhear what is the conversation that's happening, eavesdropping. Are they talking about me? If they are talking about me, what is it, etc.? They would want to know. So similar is the body reaction, the behavior of Parvati. But all this happens and the wedding is fixed, and the wedding description is also beautiful. How Shiva decks up, how Parvati decks up. He comes as Kalyana Sundaramurti. He should not come in the form where he has snakes on his body and Bhasmalepita Sharira and Gaja Charma extra, not that, but as a bridegroom, he comes and comes to the wedding. And Parvati also comes beautifully decked up. And what was the reaction of all the people? All that is described. Now, to conclude, the entire Kavya is about the graduation of Parvati. She thought originally, if I may put it in practical terms, that she can win over Shiva through her Aharya and Angika, through the beauty of her costumes and through the beauty of her body. She thought she could win over Shiva. But then burning of Manmata, the burning of the body of Manmata indicates that beauty is not at the level of body. Parvati has to realize the Satvika Shiva within herself, realize the Sattvika element within herself. The spiritual union of Shiva and Parvati is what is important. It's not just the physical union. So Ardhanarishwara Tattva is not that half of Shiva has been cut, half of Parvati have been cut, and both of them have been brought and welded together. That's not the idea. It indicates the spiritual union of the male and female. So Parvati needs to have Shiva Sakshatkara within herself. And Shiva needs to have Parvati Sakshatkara within himself. So it is that Atma Samayoga. It is the spiritual union. So the transcendence of Parvati from Aharya and Angika to the Sattvika, Tamnumas Sattvikam Shivam, realizing the Sattvika Shiva, realizing Shiva Tattva within herself, which will give her a permanent union. Manmata's physical body is gone, but the spirit is always alive. So the spiritual union of Parvati and Shiva that has been very beautifully indicated here. Jagatav Pitaro Vande Parvati Parameshwaro. Kalidasa says in his Raghuvamsha. He also says, Prajaye Gruhamedinam. What is the purpose of any Gruhastashrama, of any successful marriage? The purpose is to create noble citizens for the world. Now, Parvati and Parameshwara coming together is with the purpose of creating a noble child, a noble citizen in the form of Kumara, in the form of Subramanya, in the form of Deva Senapati, who can lead the world to overcome all the different kinds of agonies that the world is facing. So that is the story of the Kumarasambhava, and poetic beauty is extraordinary. In every verse, there is so much of depth and so much of suggestion. I would welcome everybody to go through the Kumarasambhavam if possible in original or in translation, or you can have a look at this book where I have indicated the values, the philosophical values, the eternal and universal values, and also discussed the aesthetics, the dramatic aesthetics of the poem. With this, I'll conclude. If there are questions from the hosts or from the participants, I'll be very happy to take them. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bharadwaj, for this talk. I mean, it's really extraordinary. I have just a clarificatory question in mind that you mentioned about Apya Dikshita, right? Is it the same? Apya Dikshita is the same Apya Dikshita who wrote Vedanta Parimala of Advaita tradition?
Yes, exactly. Vedanta Parimala was his commentary on the Shankara Bhashya, on the Vedanta Sutras.
Yeah.
It's the same Apya Dikshita who was called Apara Shankaracharya, an avatar of Shankaracharya. He wrote the Parimala, of course, and he has written many other works on philosophy and on aesthetics. Pitramimamsa and Kuvalyananda are his two works on literary aesthetics. And there are multiple works on philosophy, of course, Advaita Vedanta.
So
Yes.
I'm just wondering, a person coming from this Advaita lineage, how is he imbibing the spirit of Sringara? I mean, the spirit of aesthetics. I mean, it is only possible in Sanskrit tradition, probably in Indian tradition, that how two contradictory approaches can be combined, right? Right.
Best form of Sringara. In Bhagavan Shri
Yeah.
Krishna, we find the best form of Sringara.
True.
Sringara can lead to Shanta. Shrunge Ritte, Shrungam Riyate iti Sringaraha. Something which takes us to the peaks of bliss. Shrunga means the peak. It takes us to the peak of bliss and helps us remain in that peak of bliss. So being loved and giving love unequivocally to everyone, that's the happiest thing. Have we all not felt that? If somebody loves us very deeply, or if we are sharing love to everyone, that is the best kind of joy. And a real Vedantin or a Jivan Mukta is somebody who has equal love towards all kinds of beings. That is what we see in Krishna Tattva, in Shiva Tattva, etc., even in Rama Tattva. So Shringara and Shanta are not opposed emotions. Shringara can lead to Shanta. The combination of Shringara itself is Shanta.
So would you like to say that this is Sringara, according to your definition of Sringara, this idea is quite related to the notion of Atmarati, because in Rasa Panchadhyaya we can see the Krishna is described as Aptakama Akama, right? Because he is always into the Atmarati. So is this notion of Sringara is kind of linked to this notion of Atmarati?
Absolutely beautiful, beautiful. In the most spiritual sense, Atmarati, which is that tendency towards realizing the Atma Tattva, which is Mumukta itself. Yeah, best form of Shringara. Yes.
Thank you very much. So I invite the audience, if they have any question, they can ask Arjunji. I mean, please unmute yourself and ask. Yeah, Amritanath has a question.
Just another point here. Yeah. Just another point here. The Indian tradition holds Rasananda as Brahmasvada Sahodara. Rasasvada is what we get through the reading of literature, the going through of different Natya performances, that is dance and drama, or listening to music, or enjoying painting and sculpture, that is Rasasvada. Rasasvada can have so much of Chitta Samskara that it leads to Chitta Shuddhi, which is extremely important to gain moksha. So Rasasvada, Rasananda goes hand in hand, or it's the younger brother of Brahmasvada, Brahmananda, it has been said. Yeah. So therefore, our spiritual poets or the Darshanakaras, even Shankara Bhagavatpada, was not against Sringara. In fact, again a technical detail, in this Brahma Sutra Bhashya, in the last Adhyaya, commenting on that sutra, Bhagavad says, it gives an example how one must be thinking about the Atma Tattva at all times. You must be thinking about the Atma Tattva. Just like if a husband has gone away on a travel, the wife will be constantly thinking about him. Is he safe? When will he come back? Etc. The wife will not say, okay, today morning, 10 to 10:30, I will think about my husband. After that, I'll start thinking about everybody else. It's not like that. Constantly that is there in the subconsciousness of that Rochita Bhartrika, the lady whose husband has gone on a travel. Similarly, constantly a seeker, a sadhaka, should be constantly thinking about Atma Tattva. See, Shankara Bhagavatpada is not against giving a Sringara example while talking about high-level Vedanta. So in Indian tradition, Sringara and Shanta are not diagnosed from each other.
So it reminds me of Ujjwala Nilamani of Rupa Goswami.
Yes, exactly.
So in Rupa Goswami Pad also talking about the types of Naikas, right? So in one of the types, he's explaining that when he's explaining the idea of Preshita Bhattika and Basava Sajjika, Naika is constantly thinking of his Nayak, and there is no single disassociation, right?
Yes.
So this is how we practice Brahma Tattva. This is probably the one perfect example of Brahma Tattva, the practicing of Brahma Tattva.
Absolutely.
So,
yes. Thank you.
So, Amritanath, if you have questions, like
basically because we were discussing about rasas, I actually wanted to take this opportunity to mention this to everyone that we are planning to launch an online course on the Rasadhyaya and Bhavadhyaya, the foundational chapters of the Nāṭyaśāstra on Rasa and Bhava with Sir, where Sir will be taking 10 sessions online with twice a week, and we will be alongside the traditions it can be meaningfully read against. We will be having some comparative discussions uh, uh, of Western aesthetics as well, I guess. What we had planned. Two sessions on Western aesthetics and 8 on Rasadhyaya and Bhavadhyaya. So the details are following soon. We will chalk it out and we will release the details very soon. This is what actually I wanted to mention here. And second, I had this curiosity to learn more about Krida Shastras. Sir already has mentioned this.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay. No. Okay. Thank you, Amritaji. That's one of my favorite domains, one of my mainstream domains now. I've been working with literature, with Greek literature, Indian literature, Nāṭyaśāstra, Sangeeta Shastra, and Vedanta, etc. Now I'm looking at many treatises connected with Krida, starting from uh, Bruhat Samhita. Bruhat Samhita, which is of Varaha Mihra, there we have references to Krida. Of course, in the Vedas themselves, we have references to Krida. In the Ramayana and the Mahabharata, we have references to Krida. But then the Shastratva, we find it in Manasollasa, a 11th century treatise from Karnataka, in fact, Someshwara's Manasollasa. It describes many different kinds of games. Similarly, there is something called Chaduranga Deepika. Chess, what we see today, it's very much like the older day chess. But there were many different kinds of chess in India. 4-player chess which was played with a dice, different kinds of Pushpagati or night or problems like that. Many different kinds of chess were there. Similarly, we have a 200-year-old treatise called Kautukanidhi, authored by Mummudi Krishnarath, which speaks about Ganjifa cards, the Dattavatara Ganjifa, the Devi Dattavatara Ganjifa, Panch Pandava Ganjifa, Navagraha Ganjifa, like that. Many interesting types of card games. We have Sanskrit Shastra Granthas called Ganjifa Kelanam, Ganjifa Kelana Kramaha, Ganjifa Lakshanam, etc. In the last 700 years, all these games have been formalized and different kinds of rules and making of the cards and distribution of the cards, the playing technique, all of them have been given. Similarly, many kinds of board games. Paramapada Sopana. In the Western tradition, we just have snake and ladder, which is just by chance you get a snake, just by chance you get a ladder. However, in the Indian tradition, every game is value based. So, Devi Sayujya and Shiva Sayujya, etc., you get a ladder when you go do a good deed, a dharmic deed. You get a snake when you do an adharmic deed. So, basically, in child's play, so much of spiritual knowledge is being embedded. It is helping build the child's character or even an older person's character. In what is called the Pachisi in North India, Pagade, or in South India, Dayakattam in Tamil Nadu, where again you have the Sankhya Tattva, the 24 Tattvas of Sankhya embedded. You have the Daiva and the Puruta Prayatna, that is fate and free will embedded in the game. There is a lot of symbology. In fact, I had offered a 10-hour course on the symbology of Indian games. See, for that matter, even in chess, the king can move in all the 8 directions, but only one step at a time. Because of the position of power, he is restrained from what he can do. See, for example, we can't expect the Prime Minister of India to come and dive in any lake or take a bath. Because of his position of power, there are certain limitations. He has to step with precaution and caution. The pawns, which are the frontline warriors, they can move only in forward direction. They are the frontline warriors. But if they successfully reach the other end, they can get promoted to any kind of thing. They can become the queen, they can become the rook, they can become the bishop, etc. So because of the initial risk that they take, they can get promoted to anything that they want. So much of symbology, whether it is in chess or patisi or what is called the Bhag Bakri, Ane Aadu Huliyata, etc. Traditional Indian games are very nuanced and very beautiful. So there are at least about 40 Shastra Granthas connected with indoor games. Many other Shastra Granthas connected with outdoor games. Even in the Manasavas Rasa, we have something called the Valuka Krida. What kind of games you can play when you go to a beach? What kind of games you can play in Timira, darkness? What kind of games you can play when you go to a hill? All those things have been beautifully described. I think if we revive these kinds of games, especially with children, their smartphone addiction or device addiction will stop and they can start socializing much more and they will get positive inspiration for life. I can say that. Yes.
So we can expect one more book.
3 volumes. 3 volumes, actually, a couple of, on these kinds of games. Yes.
Yeah. So if anybody has any question, please just unmute yourself.
Related to Kumarasambhavam.
Related to Kumarasambhavam, yes.
Who are not related to Frida. Yeah.
No, if they have about that also, no problem.
Yeah.
So,
if anybody has any question.
Before anybody asks anything, I have one more doubt, sir. That you have used this phrase emotional culturing, before in your book. Actually, I was thinking what, if you were, mentioning it in a very specific emotional culturing, this term, this is a very new to me. Actually.
Yeah, it's like overcoming negative emotions such as greed, jealousy, anger, animosity, etc. So, ensure that our emotions are not disturbing the world, nor are they disturbing our peace of mind. So, that is what is like Chitta Shuddhi or emotional culturing, Sattva Shuddhi and Karma Shuddhi.
So, I have a question in my mind. So, I am coming from a philosophy background. So, for me, the distinction of self and other is very important. And in a way, this distinction is kind of reflected in your talk. That's why I'm just want to ask this question to you. So you were describing how the tapas of Parvati, right? How he is meditating on Shiva and others. So do you think that there is, when he is like contemplating on Shiva, do you think this distinction between the self and other is getting immersed?
That would have vanished. Absolutely. The abheda between herself and Shiva, when that is established, that is Atma Sakshatkara. So I'm not different from Bhagavan Shiva. So that is the Sakshatkara that she had got, realizing Shiva Tattva within herself.
Shiva Tattva,
Parvati Tattva within himself. In fact, Appaya Dikshita himself says, Paraspara tapas sampat palayita parasparam. Paraspara tapas sampat palayita, realizing each within the other. So that is the true spiritual union between Shiva and Parvati. It's not just a physical union. And that is how any kind of dampatya is supposed to be. Any kind of couplehood is supposed to be like that.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
So, does anybody have any question, or we can conclude the session? It's already said. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so it's Ashtanayika, yes, Dhyadya Santosh, yeah. So the Prosita Patrika is one of the Ashtanayikas. That is what I mentioned in passing. Yes, you were in the part of the Bharatiya Krida course, of course. Yeah, a couple of people who are here in the audience, they were a part of that course, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
yes.
Okay. Since we don't have any more questions, can we conclude the session or?
Sure. Veena ji, you have something to ask?
I can see Veena ji.
Okay. I wanted to ask, I don't know whether I'm heard or not. Rasananda and Brahmananda being brothers, can we say Rasananda is temporary and Brahmananda is permanent?
Perfect. Absolutely. Rasananda requires the art as a trigger. So when we are watching a cinema or when we are deeply involved in reading a literary work, self-forgetfulness happens. Ahankara, I and mine, that dissolves temporarily. When we are deeply involved in listening to music or enjoying a literary work or watching a movie or a drama or a dance performance or sculptures or paintings, when we are in that sattvodreka, when that sattvika udreka is happening, self-forgetfulness, this is mine, possessiveness, I hate that thing. So that kind of raga and dvesha is momentarily dissolved. And we are able to look at the world in a more neutral manner, the characters, etc. So we are able to enjoy that bliss irrespective of our physical state and our mental state. Our own stomach pain won't be bothering us as long as we are deeply enjoying a music concert or a literary work. Our own stresses won't be bothering us. Tomorrow I have an exam. Tomorrow I need to fight with my boss. All that won't be bothering us when we are deeply enjoying a work of art. So there is temporary relief from the world, and that is a glimpse of Brahmananda, it is said. It's a temporary relief. But then once the artwork stops, when the music concert gets over or when the movie gets over, we are back into the Laukika, into the real world. Right? So Brahmananda, Sahodara, temporary joy like that of Brahmananda is got through Rasa. Absolutely. And Brahmananda is permanent. Yadgatva nanivartante tadhama paramamama. There's no coming back. Once you have got that Ananda, the Jivan Mukti, there's no coming back to the Laukika state of joy and sorrow.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
I mean, this conversation is important. I mean, the question Veena ji asked is very important. So I just have a thought in my mind that, so can we just say while someone is attaining Brahmananda, Rasananda is implicitly present in this experience of Brahmananda. They are not distinct.
Yep.
They are not separated from each other. Rather, the Rasananda is embedded in this experience of Brahmananda.
Right. It's like saying if you have mud, you have gold. In gold, you have a bangle, you have an earring and a necklace. Everything is there implicitly in gold. It is not explicitly seen. All kinds of anandas are manifestations of the Brahmananda itself. Yeah. So it is implicitly present. And Brahmananda is Swarupananda. It's not dependent on anything else. It is independent of everything else.
So if it is a Sarupananda, so can we say that it's also a form of a Rasananda? So
Rasa is an external trigger. Rasa is an external trigger. So there is nothing external about Brahmananda. Yeah, it encompasses all of this and it's beyond all of that. Atyatishta Dashangulam, as it was said.
So Brahma, if just for a clarification, if I just consider Brahmananda is a form of an Atmarati, so can we describe it in terms of Rasananda?
Or see again, Rasa requires a trigger. Brahmananda does not require a trigger. See, in the state of Sushupti, in the state of deep sleep, all of us when we're deeply asleep, we were happy, we were in the state of peace. But when we are awake, I will be happy if it stops raining. I'll be happy if I get food. I'll be happy if somebody praises me. I'll be sad if somebody scolds me. I'll be sad if I meet with an accident. But in the state of deep sleep, which is Sushupti, I was happy irrespective of everything else. That happiness was not because I have a daughter, because I have a house, because I have got food. It was not because of anything else. It was because of my own self. That is Atmananda itself. Right? So there is no external trigger at all for that Sushupti Ananda. Brahmananda is something similar to that. It's not because of anything else. Yeah. So
If I may say,
Rasananda experience is like Brahmananda experience, but it's a dependent experience. It's not an independent experience. Yes, Veenaji.
Sir, coming right down to the earth, I'm a doctor working in a palliative care setup, and we find end-stage diseased patients so much. How to make them a little alive? How to improve their quality of life? The mind should be given good thoughts, and then the mind may forget the bodily pain. Mind separated from the mind, that can be done by the art, good pictures. We try telling some stories and all that. Do you have any other suggestion also?
Wonderful, wonderful. Thanks a lot, Veenaji. I think art can be really therapeutic. Yeah, of course. Yeah, Amritanaji, you had something?
Yeah, actually, I was reading the book by R. Ganesh sir. He had mentioned there that we have these three layers of reality. We have these three layers of astitva, adhibhautika, adhidaivika, and adhyatmika. But between the adhidaivika experience and the adhyatmika experience, there lies an adhirasatmaka experience as well. So, can we say that any experience of rasa or the relishment takes us to that realm, and it can take us to that realm only. And from there, if we want to experience the adhyatma or the brahmananda, is it that
Art can, so what you're saying is art can be seen as a bridge between Adibhuta and Adhyatma, from the physical to the transcendental to the spiritual, can be seen as a link because it's temporarily relieving us of raga and dvesha. See, what causes us trouble? I'm attached to this person. So if something happens to him or her, I will be in pain. So that's raga. Dvesha, I hate these kinds of circumstances. I hate this kind of people. That is what causes us pain in the real world. Now, what is art doing us? It is temporarily helping us overcome raga and dvesha. It is giving us a glimpse of that ananda. So this Adi Rasa is a bridge between Adi Bhuta and Adhyatma, bypassing the Adi Daiva. Adi Daiva is the level of beliefs. So you don't have to believe anything in art. You are able to experience joy. It's not, I'm not saying that I believe that I'm enjoying. I am enjoying. If I'm eating an ice cream, the joy is a belief or an experience. It's an experience that I have got, right? So Adi Rasa is that link between Adibhuta and Adhyatma. Absolutely. Yeah. It is like a tree which is rooted in the earth, but its shoots spread out into the infinite sky. And the mangoes or whatever fruits are there hanging there. So it's like that rasa of that fruit, which is rooted in the earth, but opening to the infinite aspect of the sky, the Adhyatma.
Yeah, my
Yes.
question was, it came from Nilambar's query basically, because he was asking.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah.
So, okay, it's very dense. It's very dense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll conclude
yeah.
for this. Yes. By
So
the way, if
we,
people want more insights into this, there's a self-paced course on the entire Natyashastra and aesthetics, which I'm teaching through the Purana Stories online class. I'll share the link as well with Amrutabhaji, and he can circulate it
yeah,
in the
yeah,
group.
that will be a
it is
great
And
help.
also,
completed, sir.
Yeah, that will be a
yeah, yeah,
great
yeah.
help. Yeah.
I mean, it's a self-paced. All the lectures are available online. If you subscribe to it, then at any point you can access those lectures and listen to them. It's a holistic course on Indian aesthetics, Saundarya Shastra.
So
So
Yeah.
we have
for
parts there, right, sir? The
Yeah,
first
module
session.
1, 2, 3, and 4. Each module has about 12 episodes, totally making 48 episodes. And we have stalwarts also. Shatavadani, Dr. R. Ganesh is there, Padma Vibhushan, Dr. Padma Subramaniam is there. All of them have come as tutors in the course. Yes.
Okay, that's great. I'll share
Thank
the
you.
link with everyone.
yeah,
Sure, sure.
so
Please do. Please do.
so it's
Yeah.
almost 7:30, and now is the time that we can conclude this session. I request Amritanath to convey a vote of thanks, and we are extremely grateful to Arjun Bharadwaj for being with us and for enlightening us with his beautiful talk. We are really enlightened, and we are getting back home with so much of thoughts, like, and so much of things to ponder over. So, uh, over to you, Amritanath, for the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Nilambar. Thank you, sir. Thank you for being with us. Conversations like this one basically remind us why Poorvam exists. Not merely as a journal, not merely as a platform, but as a space where ideas are allowed to breathe, to be questioned, and to be taken seriously. Today's session has been, for me personally, deeply nourishing, and I hope it has been so for each one of you as well. Uh, and our Authors in Conversation series continues. Three remarkable sessions are already on the horizon. In July, we will be joined by Swami Medhananda for a conversation on Sri Ramakrishna and the infinite paths to infinite reality, a session that sits at the intersection of mysticism, philosophy, and the question of religious harmony. In August, Professor Moni Machadda joins us to explore Vasubandhu's No Self Metaphysics. Her new book, Selfless Minds, offers a bold and rigorous reading of one of the most challenging questions in Buddhist philosophy. And in September, Dr. Bartholomew Ryan brings us into the plural world of Fernando Pessoa, a poet who invented not just characters but entire selves, each with their own biography and philosophy. A conversation on identity, literature, and what it means to be more than one. All three sessions are free. Registration is open. Details are on poorvam.com and in our WhatsApp community. To our audience today, thank you for being here, for your attention, and for the questions you brought to this conversation. It is your presence that makes this series worth building. We will see you in July. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Amritanathji and Nilambarji. I wish the best for Poorvam. And I look forward to the upcoming sessions. I would like to be a part of it. And I would be very happy to contribute in any way possible to all the endeavors that are being taken by the Poorvam.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Arjun.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you for being
Thanks a
here.
lot to all the participants. Namaste.
Namaste.